No, this is a huge Democratic Party problem. If you look at Democratic cities, they are terribly run. They have incredibly high taxes. It is impossible to build, so the cost of housing. Let me finish. I'll give you a chance. The cost of housing is crazy in places like New York and Chicago.
Bill Maher just did the impossible. He got CNN's Fareed Zakaria to admit that, believe it or not, some of Trump's policies were actually good for America. On Real Time, Zakaria found himself in the hot seat, chuckling nervously, and ultimately conceding a rare point that rarely sees the light of day on his network. It was an unscripted moment of honesty, and it was something to see.
Trump wants to sell a visa. You get permanent residency. By the way, I looked this up, we are hardly the first country to do this. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But, you know, I remember...
Yeah, we actually have a version of it. I think it's called the EB-5 or something like that. So it's fine to do it. I actually think maybe it's because I'm, very patriotic. I think 5 million, we should be charging 20 million, or, American citizenship is worth more than that.
Fareed Zakaria from CNN just admitted that Trump's gold card policy makes sense. And to top it off, he suggested raising the cost from $5 million to $20 million. If you're wealthy and want to live in the U.S., you're paying up. For someone who often talks about fairness, this one was a real surprise.
Now you're speaking Chicago language. I'm for it, but it's part of a bigger package on immigration reform. It's been 42 years since the last one. So I'm not against it, but it's part of a whole package.
Hold up. Bill Maher is low-key genius. He got two hardcore liberals to admit, on air, that they liked a Trump policy. It was like watching a magic trick. Maher set it up perfectly by casually saying, "This gold card idea is smart," and boom, they followed. Even Rahm Emanuel agreed. It's been ages since something like that was proposed. Makes you wonder, what was your party doing all this time? Then Rahm starts calling out the woke wing of his own party.
There is a general rule. I had this when I was mayor. Safe streets, strong schools, stable finances. Focus on those three things and your city's going to be fine. We've gone through 5 years where people became way too permissive of the culture. They were which is why everything's locked up at Walgreens and CVS, and that is a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'll say this about our schools. I don't want to hear another word about the locker room. I don't want to hear another word about the bathroom. You better start focusing on the classroom.
Bill Maher dropped a savage stat. Chicago's mayor has a 6.6% approval rating, and Rahm Emanuel didn't even defend it. Instead, he slammed the left for getting lost in culture wars, saying it's making them look clueless. Rahm then called out the woke crowd, begging them to focus on real issues like education. It was a rare moment of sanity, and Rahm wasn't done yet.
We have the worst reading scores for 8th graders in 30 years. And nobody, not a governor, not a mayor, not a president, not a secretary of education is talking about it. We're all wrapped up. Look, in 7th grade, if I known that I could have said the word they and got in the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. Okay, we literally are a superpower. We're facing off against China with 1.4 billion people, and 2/3 of our children can't read 8th grade level.
This exchange may be funny, but it also highlights a real issue. A fringe group of activists has taken control, pushing policies that ignore common sense, like unrestricted access to women's bathrooms. What used to be obvious, like protecting women's privacy, has become controversial just to appease loud voices. But now, even Democrats like Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria are waking up. Maybe it's Trump or Maher, but either way, it's about time someone started speaking the truth that many have been thinking.
If you look at Democratic states, you go look at New York versus Florida, okay? Roughly the same population. The budget of New York State is twice that of Florida. What do they have? The streets paved with gold? I live in New York. I pay the highest taxes in New York. You get nothing for it. And I think that is the image people have of the Democratic Party. Sure. Lots of taxes, lots of regulation, but nothing gets done.
Bill Maher didn't just get them to admit Trump might have been right. He got Rahm Emanuel and Fareed Zakaria to turn on their own party. They pointed out the mess they've made: high costs, red tape, inflation, and taxes. It was a moment of realization. Are we the problem? After years of lecturing, left is now imploding on live TV, and we're here for it. When the architects doubt their own blueprint, the house of cards is about to fall.
The point isn't the rules, the point is the results. And the party has gotten way too focused on what the rules are. And I do agree with you on this. We have made it impossible to function as a city or as a state.
So, did Fareed Zakaria just have a sudden epiphany? Or has he been quietly nodding while Biden was steering the ship? CNN's anti-Trump rhetoric has been non-stop, but now Zakaria is having a public moment of clarity. Where was this when Biden was leading the country into a mess? It makes you wonder, was he loyal, pressured, or just silent? Either way, it feels suspicious. Maybe the truth isn't setting him free. It's finally catching up with him.
Take an example of this example. Here, obviously in LA, it took a fire and a natural disaster to make you realize, you know what, that rule's not that important. In Pennsylvania, a bridge collapse, all of a sudden we go, well, that environmental rule is just not important. We got to build a bridge. It's much more important. And I think the Democratic Party should take a look at it and say, we're going to be honest, like we did in 1994 with reinventing government. Everything is on the table. Nothing is safe.
You refrain from making any purchases, either in stores or online, to shun fast food, getting gas for a full day. I know. That look on your face says it all. You're right. It's so fucking stupid.
If the Democrats want a real comeback, they need to stop focusing on political causes and get back to basics. Issues like inflation, safety, and jobs matter more than endless debates over pronouns. It's time to ditch virtue signaling and focus on real solutions, because common sense shouldn't be partisan. It's just been missing for too long. School, in the end, Bill Maher held up a mirror, and the left didn't like the reflection. As voices like Zakaria and Rahm break ranks, it's clear the cracks are spreading. If the Democrats want a real comeback, truth and common sense need to lead. That's a wrap. If you had fun, hit like and subscribe for more bold takes. See you in the next clip.